Togo have also been affected to differing degrees. It was a devastating health challenge at the time, and WHO declared it an epidemic. Nigeria, being one of the affected West African countries, rose to the challenge and had to use public health measures to combat the spread.
All right, on this day in history, this segment is something that I always look forward to, because exactly 14 years ago, people died in as much as Nigeria rose to support the pandemic at the moment, But there was a time when, there was a flu that people had to use face masks. I'm very sure the younger adults today might not be able to relate to that, but it's something that we still have to continually look forward to try to protect ourselves with the pandemic that is ongoing, because I understand that quite a number of people are very nonchalant with their face masks and the likes and all of that. But thank God, thank God that, anytime we have such epidemic, such pandemic, we always rise above. All right. Yeah. So what's your submission on this?
For understanding history today, going back 14 years ago, I just want to say all other West African countries, because we're the most populated country in West Africa. I don't think I get my records right if I say in the whole of Africa. If Nigeria doesn't rise up to the occasion, then all other West African countries are lost. Absolutely. Like later Nelson Mandela said that the day Nigeria wakes up, then the whole of Africa is sorted. So I think for some reason, I think God really does love us. Despite the challenges that we have, for some reason we always rise up. Look at what happened when the Ebola came in. If we hadn't risen up, it would have been a disaster.
Absolutely.
For the whole of the African race, more like. But we rose up to the challenge.
Yeah. So let me use this opportunity to tell people that please continually use your face mask. It's important. And of course, the government is trying to vaccine every one of us right now. I know quite a number of people around me have been taking the vaccine. I'm yet to think that we'll get there. But when we return, we'll go on a quick break. When we return, we'll look into the topics of the day. But first, a word from our sponsors. Do not touch that. Don't change that. Stay tuned. All right, many thanks for staying tuned. Going straight to business, we're gradually winding up our episode for the month of March, which signifies our International Women's Month. My fellow hosts, what do you think? I know we have our other hosts running late in traffic. We don't have control over that. But what's your take on our episode thus far? It's quite impactful, I know.
Very impactful and very enlightening, because we've had some super women come on the program, and I want to believe that our viewers have learned a bit. Like last week, we had Hawa, who came on to enlighten us on the genital female mutilation, and that was, it was kind of like cruise, but we learned quite a bit from that, and we've had other women. Gova was on the last time, and that was a super episode. It was really, really super.
And we have another powerful one in the studio connecting us via Zoom. I'm so excited. All right, guys. So, joining us on today's episode is a national figure that needs no introduction. But before she joins us via Zoom, let's take a look at her profile, guys. We'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying tuned. Good afternoon, Chief Mrs. Abike Dapri. It's a pleasure to have you on the show today. Many thanks for joining us via Zoom. Can you hear me?
Yeah, thank you very much, and good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
I'm in a hall at a public function, so there might be some noisy background, but I'm at the program.
Oh, okay.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Many thanks for creating time to join us for our launch show today. So, of course, you've been an impact to our society at large, and the scale of achievement that you have made thus far as the head of NITCOM. This is a highly remarkable job that you've been doing thus far. I can boldly say that last year during the pandemic, you were actively involved in numerous campaigns, pertaining to the welfare, safety, and of course, repatriation of Nigerians from different countries, including Lebanon, Saudi Arabia, UAE, South Africa, and even China, when some Nigerians were denied their right to freedom and movement and expression during the pandemic measures. So it is a big honor and to have you on the show today.
Thank you for inviting me.
Question to you, ma'am, is that your achievement precedes you as a person. You need no introduction in this industry. So from being a reputable journalist to being a respectable female politician and now a public servant heading NIDCOM, being a celebrity one of our celebrity for the International Women's Month, inspire us with few words on what it takes an African woman today to make an impact.
There is some interference, so I can't hear you. There's a lot of background noise from your end.
I think we're having a little bit of challenges with the connection right there. All right, so before we connect our back, with all the people that we've interviewed thus far, I think the one that also resonated with me was the one last week, because I think I learned a lot of things last week regarding female genital mutilation and all of that. What a lot of young girls or child, go through, and how I feel sometimes that we are self-centered, because I'm trying to imagine what could lead to such acts. So we need a lot of advocacy on situations like this.
Kike, we're talking about traditions that have eaten deep. We're talking about culture that have eaten deep into the fabric of the average African. Everything goes back to culture. Everything goes back to tradition. Our parents did this. So breaking away from those traditions is an uphill task. But thank God, women have risen to the occasion now. We have advocacy groups everywhere. Different platforms have been set up to address all this myriad of problems that we have in the country. And I think taking it one step at a time, we'll get there eventually. We will get there, because it's actually very sad to know that in the present day world, 2021, children are still being put through, all this crude. I don't get it. I mean, it beats my imagination to know that one will tamper with God's own creation. I mean, when men are not gods, so why would you tamper with God's creation? God meant well when he gave the woman have female organs. So why would somebody else now tamper with that? I wasn't able to get over that, for a very long time. But I just feel with more advocacy, we'll get there and gradually crush all of these old age traditions. So what about you?
There are quite a number of things that I was able to draw from this month of March, International Women's Month. Like I said earlier, last week was an eye-opener for me. And of course, we had, what's it called, Juliet,
yes.
Who came on board, the country director of Google. And there are a lot of things that she shared. And also, I've taken time to read a few passages of a book. I hope you guys are going to read the book, because it's quite interesting, especially when Marshall asked, why not 90 days in excellence, why not 30 days? So I was curious to say, this 30 days, even as much as she said that we can actually go back
you tailor it
and
to,
tailor it to what
yes.
you think that is relatable to you and all of that. But above all, I think that Juliet coming on board too was a win-win for us all, especially when it comes to technology. Technology is something that has come to stay, and she's really making a lot of impact in that industry. Seeing a Nigerian woman, take a lead in most of these places that they feel that have to be male dominated. nominated, so to speak, you know, and having a, you know, triumph and
a
young woman at that, you know, thank you for chipping that in, you know, so that was a good one for us. I think that's an achievement that we all had this month. You know, I'm looking forward to Thursday. I think we're having Tara on Thursday.
Oh, really?
You know,
That'd be
yeah.
nice.
So I had to step down Allen, you know, to be able to accommodate her. So, but you know what? It's important for us to quickly go on the break so that we can see all the technical issue happening to our guests, and of course we can have our other co-hosts who have been running late for a while. We'll be right back. A word from our sponsors. All right, many thanks for staying tuned. You know, we've been having a lot of challenges with the network. That is something we all don't have control over. But glad we have our guests connected to us via Zoom now. You know, ma'am, can you hear me? Hello. Oh, great.
I can't, the audio is poor, so I'm not sure this thing can work. I really can't hear anything.
Okay,
The
I
audio
can.
is poor.
Oh, okay.
Or
Or all right, there are quite a number of things that is happening right now. But guys, while the technical people are trying to sort this out, you know, Marshall, I was discussing with FO before you came late, you know, saying that there are quite a number of impactful things that we've achieved this month, being an International Women's Month with the kind of caliber of people that we've interviewed thus far. You know, what's your take? Which one resonates with you the most?
Well, so far on the Women's Month of March, it's been really interesting celebrating women. I was looking forward to having Kike Dabiri, Honorable, on air today, and I was hoping
we still have her, but we're still
Yes.
having challenges with the
technical
network.
issues.
Yes, I'm hoping that this would be the striker. Yeah, but we also had the Google West Africa
Yeah, we talked
director.
about Juliet.
Yeah, Juliet, and we really had a swell time with her. It was an eye-opener. She really threw some light into several things, especially on how we can begin to make money, generate funds, revenue from online as a mainstay, one of the mainstays of the country's economy. You know, you threw a question at her, asking her how we can begin to see that we have sustainable internet facility in the
Must be
country.
Damilola.
Oh, yeah, Dami.
Yes, it was Damilola.
Yeah, not you.
All right, so
that's it from me.
with everything that is going on right now across globe, especially with the trending news, I know that there are a lot of issues going on regarding the hijab students in school. I think we have to deviate a little bit with everything that is happening with the technology. Let me leave that for the technical director to take charge. You know,
Yes.
what's your take on it? Because I feel that I know it's one of the trending topics right now on our social.
Almost been narrowed to Kwara
social
State.
Yes, exactly.
State.
You know, for those who are not
coming from
in the
Kwara
know.
State, it's not really narrowed to Kwara State because we've
Oh,
had.
well,
I know
well.
Ekiti State has had its own fair share of that. Osun State,
No,
Lagos State.
Osun did
Yes.
years back.
Yes, and
Yes.
and we had a little bit of that in Lagos State. Is she back now?
No, so the question now is, you know, should that be what is paramount to us regarding looks, instead of you looking at the character of the child, looking at the excellence in terms of studies? You know, I don't know why a lot of schools, you know, or people, or probably, you know, we need to reorientate ourselves with the way school is being governed today. You know, you are, you know, a school coordinator yourself.
Yes.
What's your take on this?
I saw the government officials locking up the school or taking over the school in Kwara State. And I know that members of my association that I belong to, NAPS, National Association of Proprietors and Proprietors of Private Schools, frown at it, and I think they are going out to call the government out. It's so sad that something as I don't mean to make light the issue,
Yes.
but as irrelevant as whether or not students should wear hijab would amount to the taking over or the sealing of an educational institution such as that one that has been around over the years. They are not looking at the number of leaders that have been churned out from that school. They're not looking at the impacts they've made in the lives of children. They're not looking at the impacts they've made in the society in general. But because the government has, that school is tagged a grants school. It's one of the grant approved schools to, you know, receive grants from the government. It's not even owned by the government. And then you send in government officials to seal it. It's quite sad. It's quite unfortunate. And some of us, you know, in this side of town are folding our hands and not talking about it because we feel, I mean, imagine if it was your school, you attended, if you attended, I don't know, I hope you attended some level of your early education in Lagos State. Imagine if it was your alma mater that was being sealed. How would that resonate with you?
I don't know what
For
to
me,
think about it.
in this case, what I will give the Kwara State government some hard knocks, because the government is not handling, you know, this issue correctly. Because I went to a private Catholic school. You didn't have to be a Catholic to attend that school.
Exactly.
I had friends who were core Muslims, who had mosque sited in their homes, you know, and they attended the same convent school, said the same prayers with us. What was paramount was our education. Because I don't see how our politicians are beginning to bring, like you said, things that are totally irrelevant to the development of our children.
This takes me to the next level. Let's quickly open our phone lines to get public real talk on what we're sharing or what we're talking about today on the issue of hijab, the trending issue on social and a few days ago. I know, and I think that is also an opportunity for me to open the phone lines to hear this feedback from our people. What do you choose to challenge in the midst of this International Women's Day that is ongoing? You know, it's like every month women come together, you know, to want to, you know, create more awareness in having a voice, in changing the narrative, you know, and all sorts. What is the bias? What do you choose to challenge? Please call the phone number on the screens, and of course you can tweet to us on our social handles on Real Talk with Kike, and of course on Twitter pages Talk with Kike, and let's get your feedback on all of it, because you know every month, like I said, Masha, it's a good one that we have you on the platform today. You know, quite a number of times that women come out to say that okay, we choose to do this, and sometimes I've gotten a lot of feedback from people to say that are women really supporting one another, or is it just about the months coming together and everybody showcasing one or two things to say, okay, I want to, you know, just give the talks and move on from there. You know, what's your take in all of this with your experience with other organizations you've worked with?
It's interesting. It's something. It's a starting point. It's somewhere to take off from. There's so much about gender inequality in the global space, and yes, the much ado about the month of March, women coming together. I think it's somewhere to start off from. It is worth it, you know, and you can hear the noise. It's louder than before. The women's rights, equitable rights for women.
Can you please hold your thoughts? We have Angela calling from Jos. Hello, Angela.
Hello,
Good morning, my sweet sister.
Thank you for calling. What's your contribution on the show today?
Do you know what? What the politicians are doing now? They're just trying to be selfish. How can they tell me, I want to the Catholics to do the same thing with your colleague there?
Okay.
We do the same rosary together.
Can you please reduce the volume of your TV set, please?
We go to the same chapel together.
Angela, can you please reduce the volume of your TV set and please just communicate with us here?
Yes, then I choose, yes, this is hijab.
Okay.
We can wear hijab, but they cannot impose it on us that we must wear it. Like now I'm barbing my hair. I go out freely with my hair because of the weather. So you cannot impose us to do what you think that your women are doing, that we must do it. See, they are trying to divide this country. So they should be very careful the way they are doing their things now. I choose to challenge that all ladies to dress well and let's be properly dressed, and God will take away all these crises of rapes, and everything has really calmed down. So by next time, I choose to be maybe counselor on my constituency so that I will challenge all these things.
Oh, that's a nice one, Angela. That's a nice one. Many thanks for calling on the show today. You know, it's disturbing for us to, you know, actually be talking about things like this. Honestly. When I feel that, you know, there's more awareness, you know, and here we are today that we are trying to even copy the Westerners, you know, in how we do things, and here we are again taking 2 steps back to start talking about. And you know, guys, a lot of people cannot relate to it when I tell them that growing up I was actually covered up, you know. And Elijah trained me, my grandmother, Hijab. Blessed memory, yes. You know, I was in Hijab growing up, I lived for over 12, 13 years of my life, you know, until she passed on, I think when I was in secondary school. And my dad just said, you know what, enough of this. Enough of this. I'm a Christian now. Your mother is a Christian and the likes. And I think that religion at the end of the day is about unity. And we are preaching peace. We are preaching how we can come together, you know. And at the end of the day, you know, it's sad that homes, foundation where we should say that we are imbibing knowledge and morals on our children, afterward is school environment. And it's the school environment that is indirectly creating discrimination without us knowing, you know. Masha, what do you have to say?
I don't think so either. It's the government that is not considering the value of the school environment itself, not the school environment creating that. And just so we put things in the right perspective with Angela, you know, she was saying that forcing the children to put on hijab, that's not the issue. No. The issue is the school says it's a Christian school and would not have hijab, one. But the government is insisting that certain people should be allowed to put on hijab.
All right, so many thanks for that submission and, of course, you know, correcting my stand on that. I think we have Benjamin from Jos calling in. Benjamin, can you hear me?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Many thanks for calling in. What's your take on our discussion at hand right now?
Okay, my own take is before a school is being funded, there should be rules and regulation. That is the most important thing. Yes. Because there are some terrible politicians. Let's get the rules and regulations. There are laws and laws and rules and rules. That is the only thing that can solve the problem. Nigeria is a very complex country. Forget. Some people are telling you. But when there are rules and regulations, so you follow it. Or you follow them. That is my own take.
All right, many thanks, Benjamin, for calling in. You know, Ansefo,
yes,
you know, with everything that is happening right now, what's your final submission before we go on a break?
My final submission is, I choose to challenge the government of the day, federal, state, local government. Can we just please have the love of our country in our hearts? And just do what is right. These people grew up also like these children. So why do we want to destroy our children? Why are we causing all the division? It's very unnecessary. We have a barrage of problems in this country already. So why take it to the school sector? Why do we want to destroy these young minds? I think it's time for our leaders, the politicians in particular, to come together and think about love of country. For the first time, if they have never thought about that.
All right, many thanks for that submission. We'll go on a quick break and get a word from our sponsor. When we come back, we'll look at another trending stories. We'll be right back. All right. For joining us, you know, there are quite a number of things that is happening behind closed doors, especially when it comes to technical issue, trying to connect to our guest, of course. So on that note, I won't be able to connect again to our scheduled Honorable Abike Dabiri. So we'll be discussing other trending stories that caught our attention. I think the next story that caught my attention, our attention, is the one that has to do with the students, the 13-year-old lady who won the best student across globe has been celebrated for some reason. Although I think the best mathematician or something like that. Okay, we have another caller on the line for Nanzim from Jos. I hope I pronounced your name well. Hello Nanzim. I don't know if that's your name. Pardon me for murdering your name. Thank you. What's your contribution on the show today? Please,
can you bring down the volume? of your TV set.
I'm calling from just please.
All right, apologies, I might have to let her go. You know, with everything that is ongoing, especially we are talking about schools and all of that, and I think that that is a place of learning, and quite a number of our students, when they are doing well, that's the angle I'm coming from. You know, I feel that they should be more celebrated. They should be trending on every platform. For some reason, you know, you just find out that just a few people are talking about it. I don't know what the orientation needs to be, Marshall, you know, with how we need to celebrate this young, you know, well, what's the name to use now, you know, all this, you know, intellectual young
call them the young genius.
The young genius. Thank you for borrowing me the word.
I wanted you to learn.
And at the end of the day, you know, these girls or this particular girl is, you know, she has done wonderfully. We have tried to connect to the school to see how we can actually bring her on board, you know, to interview her and also to actually check her background. Sometimes people always say that it could be the foundation, but it's another thing for you to say it could be the, but it's another thing for the child, you know, to take on the responsibility to say that I want to.
It's the will you have,
the zeal
to want to excel.
Exactly. What's your take, my Efo?
I think it's a beautiful one. I didn't quite read the story. I saw the caption somewhere on some of these IG.
But what do you think is the challenge that we are not celebrating these young people to at least encourage them?
I think we have just become a country where we just celebrate mediocrity. We have chosen to that way, because when you talk about children excelling, why won't we put them on the front burner? Let the whole world see them. Let other children like them see them and be inspired to want to excel. You know, but we now live in a country where you hear the street slang, I want to blow. It is music that is going on. Everybody is rapping. That's what I'm saying. When you find full-grown men sagging their pants, I don't get it. You see full-grown women, you know, wearing undersized clothes because they want to belong. What are we passing on to these young ones? So, in a society like this, I don't know why all our values are almost gone. But there's hope. At least, the likes of us that are still here, we still give hope. And a few others on the outside. There's a lot of hope. Let's begin to celebrate our own. This is a young child who would inspire others. So, I don't know what it is. You know, let's begin to celebrate our own. Let us begin to punish wrongdoings.
All right, before you take on Marsha, we have another caller on the line from Jos Abadaya. I'm very sure I murdered that name. Oh, hello, can you hear me?
Hello?
Yeah, please go ahead, please.
Okay, my on this issue is that if you could remember, when someone is being admitted into a certain school, when given a prospectus, you see all the guidelines there, all the rules and regulations of the school. So why is it now? Have they not seen it before someone is being enrolled in a school? So at least, when someone, before you enroll in any institution, you have agreed with the set condition. So why is it are they talking about the issue of hijab today? So it becomes a surprise. So if you can see, those Muslims that even attend the missionary schools, you discover that they have a radical change in behaviors, better than their other counterparts that attended their even fellow Muslim schools. So you discover that their level of exposure is more than the other brothers that even attend their normal schools. So why are they saying today that they must be allowed to wear it as far as they know the system, since before they were even enrolled into it?
All right. Thank you very much. Everyone shares that concern. Why force them? Why force the school to take up that identity? For me, for the question Kike asked you, Ethel,
Yes.
I think the question was why not celebrate our very own young geniuses? I'd bring it to the table of the government of the day. I think it's there. We have a government who would budget slightly over 100 billion for education. And then you would have 200 plus to feed the children as a budget to feed children. That's the kind of government we find ourselves. You know, so it leaves to tell you that there is everything, every sector, every avenue they see to perpetrate corruption, they would dip their things into it. Sure. So I think for a start, it's corruption before we go to an immoral culture or way of life, because you spoke about sagging and all whatnot. That's for the youth of the day. But the government has a vital role to play in that. Do we have a
all right, many thanks for that. We have another caller on the line from Jos. I think my Jos people, is it time for me to come visit you in Jos? Hello, Daniel. Many thanks for calling in today.
It's Jos today.
Hello, Daniel.
Daniel, you're live to us from Jos.
All right, so we lost Daniel right there.
Connection.
Call us back, Daniel. It's
raining outside. I think another angle I want to come from in all of this is most parents, I don't want to actually point fingers at schools, is that I think we need to get better when it comes to recreational skills from our children. What do I mean by that? That there are children who are very skillful on field. There are children who are academically sound. There are children who have picked interest in music. And at the end of the day, you find out that till date, despite the fact that most families travel every summer to Obodo Yibo, so to speak, and we still frown.
What I used to hear before, that the president usually is surrounded by people of his likes, so he'll be far from the reality of the poor man on the streets. Because if you say most parents will travel to Obodo Yibo, as you put it, I want to believe that some parents.
Some parents.
All right, we have another caller from Benin, Mashal. We have another caller from Benin. Hello, Oladele, did I get them right?
Oladele.
Yeah. Okay, what's your contribution on the show today? Many thanks for calling.
Yeah, my competition is at every hour.
Oh, the network is erratic today.
Turn down your volume, Oladele. Turn down your volume. Turn it down.
Always have.
All right, apologies, Oladele. I might have to let you go. If you want to call in again, please try to reduce the volume of your TV set before connecting to us on our live show. And you see, when I said what I said earlier, that most is probably because sometimes I feel that it's what you're exposed to. You just think that most people actually take that as a culture, But I know that some people, especially the average. Above average citizens, so to speak, just to tailor it down there, with every exposure, with the knowledge that we have today, we still find most homes still struggle with the fact that you want your child to go and learn how to play instruments. You still find them still trying to encourage the children when it comes to how skillful they can be on field. And today we are celebrating the likes of Burna Boy, we are celebrating the likes of Wizkid, Tiwa Savage, and the list goes on. But they had to put that body of work into what they are doing to be able to be where they are today, and all of us are talking about them. What do you think that, for those who are listening to us, what do you think that they can do to get better, Masha?
Yeah, a whole lot they can do. First of all, you need to encourage yourself, because we are in a society that doesn't even encourage you. Like you said earlier.
Apologies, I have to interrupt your thoughts. We have another caller from Jos. Anne, how are you doing? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Many thanks for calling. What's your contribution on the perspective or the topics that we've treated today? What's your take on it? Which angle are you coming from? Anne?
I think every school has its... Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Go ahead, please.
I think every school has its rules and regulations. If you're not down with any school regulation, you should take your child or ward to wherever you think suits your belief and your ideology.
All right, many thanks for that. So,
Thank you
Marsha, as
very
we're
much.
saying.
But you know, the government feels they're giving the school money, and as a result, they can, take over the school in grants. They didn't set up the school. But I think, was it you that was talking about mediocrity, that we celebrate mediocrity? Yes. So, first off, we're in a society that celebrates corruption, criminality, immorality, and mediocrity. So you want to encourage yourself, first off, to go beyond the norm, go beyond the horizons that you see in front of you. Because if you look at the things in front of you, you just might want to jump into the third mainland bridge or something. You need to go beyond that. Yes. Okay, that's the first thing. And then the second thing, find where you fit in. Find the link where you fit in. Because for everybody, there's a link. There's somewhere you can do exploit. There's somewhere you can shine. There's somewhere you can, exhibit that skill, that talent that you have. You don't need to have all the money in the world. I tell you, there are schools that do free vocational classes. There are schools that even do free, for starters, my school, I've got a couple of people who are in the school free. So there are schools where you can go to free of charge without paying anything.
All right. So many thanks for that. We have Daniel back on our phone lines. Daniel, can you hear me now? From Jos? Calling from Jos, to be precise.
Good afternoon.
All right, Daniel, what's your perspective of the topics at hand today?
Thank you very much. I want to lay my voice on the topic very seriously, that any student is trying to be in school, we should follow the rule and regulation, because I believe each school has a rule and regulation, especially in Nigeria, and not only in Nigeria. So if the rule and regulation of the school is not capable for you, I think that would be good for candidates to work.
Thank you, Daniel.
All right, many thanks, Daniel.
Kike, can I just say something? Just like you said now, we're talking about back to school, and you're saying the government is saying hijab should be allowed. How will they feel if it's a Muslim school and the Christian child says, I don't do hijab, I'm a Christian? So, let's stop all these games we play. I appeal to our politicians, please, please, love of country first.
All right, many thanks for that. I think that we have a few more minutes left before we can round up the show. So I think before we round up today, let me use this opportunity to ask my other fellow co-hosts on the table that what do you choose to challenge in the midst of International Women's Day? Because I don't think I've gotten your perspective on what you chose to challenge.
I choose to challenge bad governance. I choose to challenge bad governance. Like I always say, love of country first. We have a great country. We do have a great country. So many people are completely, name it. Look at the mass exodus of our youths out of the country. Why can't we make it work? Right. So I choose to challenge bad governance. Let our government sit down and let them think. All right. For the sake of country, so that we can move this country forward.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, Benita. What do you choose to challenge on behalf of your wife?
Why his wife?
He's representing the wife.
Yes, that's true.
I can't wait to be back on this set. I can't wait for match to be over and be back on this set with Dami. Because it was a tough time last time with her, the both of women. She's always coming at me with wife matters. Anyway, I choose to challenge, rather than challenge the government, I choose to challenge the people. I choose to challenge the people to knock off this government that we have. I choose to challenge you that is watching us right now. Pick up that challenge and go and pick up a form in a political party to contest for election. You heard someone who called in and said, I would want to be a councillor in my next 2023. That choose to challenge the norm. We have a bad government. I would not challenge the government. I'm sorry. I don't have that hope that I'll challenge the government and then I'll see a turnaround in the near future. I challenge you. Make a change for yourself by picking up the mantle. That's my challenge.
Well said from Marsha. It was indeed all real talk from my co-host, of course. How intelligent and how opinionated they can be. And today they've actually exhibited the skills despite all the challenges we had trying to connect to our guest of the day. Remember, when there is will, there is a possibility. And when there's possibility, there can be impact. So as a woman, choose to be in charge of a life, so to speak, and be ready to defy the odds that makes an impact. And remember, the will is in your hands. Till we come your way on Thursday, of course, we have another great woman who have been impacting the society at large. Please keep being real. See you on Thursday.
Bye-bye.
Adios, amigos.